What's up, everybody? Welcome back on another episode of Friends Next Door. This is Mia.
Dan.
Thomas.
And we actually have a difficult topic to discuss today. And I want to preface this with we know it can be sensitive. Because as soon as I say the word, I feel like some people are going to be triggered. So I just want to acknowledge that there's a lot of sensitivity. It can get really touchy, but we just want to talk about it. We're not trying to create controversy or anything. So, okay, I'm just gonna say it. Bamboo ceiling.
Okay.
And
what?
Ceiling. If you guys have never heard about it, should we pull up some definition?
I think it's basically the East Asian version of glass ceiling, right?
Yes, the
Glass
idea
ceiling,
of Asian Americans being held back professionally because of their race.
Right. Glass ceiling, basically, it's like it's like an illusion, right? Sky's the limit. You look up, you're like, yeah, I could reach for the stars, reach for the sky in terms of
climb the ladder.
Mm-hmm. But then there's a glass ceiling. So bamboo glass. It should really be called a bamboo glass ceiling because if it's made of bamboo and it's not glass, you could see it.
Somebody, I was doing research, somebody pointed that out because bamboo is not transparent. You can't really see this.
Actually, I think they should change it. It should be like glass jelly ceiling.
What?
You know, like when you go to get boba.
I love jelly.
And you can get
grass jelly.
No, but there's white jelly. So it's like white jelly or like agar.
Right. Like aloe?
Agar.
Yeah. So it's like kind of transparent, you know?
Aloe jelly ceiling.
Yeah, I think that makes more sense. That's a prominent Asian ingredient. Anyways.
Yeah. Whether or not it makes more sense, you get the idea.
You get the idea. And we didn't coin this. It's out there.
No.
And I think it's interesting to talk about. First of all, there's so many different directions. Do we believe it exists?
Mm-hmm.
Have we dealt with it in our own life? Do we deal with it today?
Yeah.
This topic,
or how do we deal with it?
How do you deal with it? Because I think the public in America, and what I learned from our dear friend Felicia, is people in Australia they don't have this debate. There's no, in other countries besides America, there's really not this debate. If you're whatever.
For better or worse.
Yeah.
Yes, for better or worse.
You're just I'm going to be a part of society. I don't think I'm disadvantaged or more advantaged. But America, it's a thing because of lots of things. Political, social, economical.
Yeah.
This is how we live.
Yeah.
Every day we turn on the news cycle and
you hear that.
In order for you to read the news, there needs to be clickbait. There's definitely a lot of truth behind some of the things and maybe not some of the things. So, we could just start this year, last year, I think a breakthrough was made in public. I feel in the general public consensus, I feel for example, there was a major Marvel hero that was Chinese, Shang-Chi. So people are like, wow, finally we got to see this Chinese actor in a major Hollywood first tier studio. Not an independent film, not made
on
for
YouTube.
TV, not on YouTube, straight up Hollywood movie of the first tier.
Do you think that's a culmination of everything that's happening before, right? Because YouTube is a big platform for Asian American
for sure. A lot of
faces.
creators are
yeah.
Chinese American. Totally.
Yeah.
So you're asking, do you think that's a result of that?
Yeah, I think that's kind of the momentum has been building for years.
I don't think it hurt.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think it hurt.
When we were doing, I think two ways. When we were doing Off the Great Wall, a lot of people back in 2012, and then before that, there were a lot of Chinese creators or East Asian creators like Wong Fu Productions who kind of paved the way, Nigga Higa. And then we came along, made a little blip in the radar. Little blip in the timeline, And then nowadays, I feel like it's pretty normal to be if you're Chinese American or whatever, just Chinese, you're just doing YouTube. It's not everybody, but there's no limit there. You could be on YouTube, Instagram, and
TikTok.
TikTok. I turn on Instagram now. We had this episode about golden age of content, and twofold. Nowadays, you could just turn the camera on, put your stuff on social media, and there is no limit. So when it comes to getting to like a certain level of success in the entertainment industry, and I mean the whole bubble, I don't think there's a ceiling, because you could get millions of followers doing anything you want.
Right. So I think the term is mostly when people hear that, I think people usually think about corporate setting.
Yeah, corporate ladder.
Yeah.
That's what we've been reading.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of like where this topic is started.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I think there is something too of just like the whole representation thing, especially for like Asian Americans, right? Just like early on, there was not much of it, especially in Hollywood, right?
Right. And
slowly got more of that through YouTube, and then just like as time progressed. So I think there is some part of it where it's just like, you know, is there some sort of like I think there's like people do talk about like bamboo ceiling in Hollywood too, like how there weren't prominent Asian American actors before, right? Like comparatively, and like you end up getting with like, I don't know, like whitewashing or like for roles and things like that, right?
Yeah.
So I think, but yeah, I think for us, we wanted to talk about like the corporate ladder first.
Yeah.
Is that what we know?
Perfect, because you guys both are in the corporate world.
True.
So I think both of you guys can speak a lot about that. Should we start with Mia?
I was avoiding eye contact with Dan because I didn't want him to call me out.
Or Thomas. Thomas to start.
Yeah. So for me, I think now there's less of a like a bamboo ceiling thing. Like just even within my org, there are like managers of all sorts of types, like ethnicity wise. So I can't really say if I'm seeing that, whether I've experienced it or not. Like I did want to go into management. And I think one of the challenging things is that I kind of like the people skills to do that.
Okay.
Like in general.
So would you say that the bamboo ceiling refers to roles of management, or
I would say mostly
or barrier
management.
to entry?
I think management.
Yeah. I would say management.
Climbing
There's
up
plenty
that
of
ladder.
Asian software engineers, programmers out
for
there.
sure.
And that's like one of the examples that this writer in this article I read, right? One of the examples that they cited was exactly that.
Right.
So even though Asian Americans, like there's a huge percentage of them that make up the workforce.
In this particular field.
Yes, whether it's like
software
tech,
engineering.
banking, law, whatever, Wall Street, right? Finance. They actually only represent a small number when it comes to, those who hold a manager role. So,
managerial or even higher, like
or executive
directorial,
role. Yeah.
executive, up until,
Yes, so that's why they're saying, hey, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I find that really interesting, and I would defer to you guys because you're around, that's your daily life. So do you guys see that?
It's kind of hard to say, and it also depends on the company.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to, I would say it's hard to make like a broad assessment of that, of like the reasons for it. Like I hate arguments where it's just like,
blanket statements.
Blanket statements like, oh, it's due to racism or whatever. Right?
And that's why I think these conversations are really important, because when we talk about it, I actually think that a lot of this is done on purpose to create a divide. Because I don't think, first of all, I don't want to just throw out a blanket statement. I don't think there's a bamboo ceiling. There's a ceiling for everybody. There's a ceiling for women in the United States. Okay, it still is. The gap is shortening, but in the past they get paid way less for doing the same thing, and that's forever gonna be an issue in the United States, right? So to me, it's like, yes, there's limitations to everything. Even for Asians, say, going to Ivy League schools, like there's so many of them that they're at a disadvantage there.
Right.
As well.
Affirmative action.
Yeah. So for me, like, I always had the question, yes, I think you don't see a lot of East Asians in I'm only speaking for East Asians because I'm Chinese.
Right.
Right. In managerial positions, because maybe they don't want it.
There could be many reasons.
There's
that could be one of them.
There's some of
Yeah.
that.
Maybe they just don't want it. Thomas said something about, what is it? Like people skills.
Oh yeah, people skills. Well, like speaking personally, like I don't really like people.
Yeah.
And I mean, not like I can't be nice to people or anything like that, but it's just like I think that's probably one of the areas I can really develop.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's like if I want to go to manager, I probably
But
need more of
do you
that.
see the path there for you? Because we're talking about personal experience,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And whether
So,
or not there
I
is.
mean, at least in my current company, if I
Yeah.
wanted to, I had the chance, and even before.
And like the company does a good job of like
Yes. Right.
providing
Yes.
those things.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Like 2 companies ago, like if I had stayed another 2 months, I could have
Yeah.
been promoted to manager. Like that was something that was promised to me.
And you're at a managerial role too.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
not anymore now, just because
Director
this is by choice. Like managing people, I did that, and so that's why I could say, based on my personal experience, I didn't like that avenue, that path was made available to me, right?
Right.
So I was promoted to a manager role. That crap's not easy.
No. So did you relinquish that?
I did.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
'cause
like, I
you're like,
don't
I don't
mind
even
it.
want
Like, I
that.
don't mind not managing a team. I just want to worry about my own stuff.
Right. So you had the opportunity. You got
I did.
it.
I did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
For about a year or two or whatever. And so I don't know. I can't say that I was held back.
Right.
So yeah,
And,
it's
like I could speak for Yi. Like if she had stayed at her previous job, first of all, she is a manager right now in news production.
Yeah.
Before that, she was offered. She actually became an editor and was offered higher. She just left.
Yeah.
So she had no, and she's 100% Chinese. She had no, like, issues getting promoted.
Right.
She actually doesn't, like you, she does not want to be a manager. That's why I'm like, she does not want to be a manager because you're saying you don't have the people skills. She has great people skills. She just doesn't want to. There's a certain knack. Like she doesn't want
Yes.
to deal with the interpersonal crap between people.
Yes.
and that's the
That's
thing
the
about
thing.
being a manager.
You
You
have to
end
deal with that.
You're like herding
that's
cats.
yeah. That's
So
most
so-
of the time.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
So
you
my
manage
hypothesis is
interpersonal
like I
relationships.
think a lot of Chinese people growing up, they shy away from the rift that happens at work interpersonally.
It's
'Cause
it's really
that's
dealing
our
with
culture.
personalities, dealing
Yeah.
with politics internally,
Because
right?
we're taught growing up, we're taught to not say much, not and to keep to yourself.
Right.
And growing up in America, it's different because I was growing up. You should always speak out. You should
Yes.
always,
Okay.
like state your problem. You should
Yeah.
confront people.
Yes.
And solve it.
Okay, so this is what I experienced, and this is something that me and my sister used
Yeah.
to always talk about. Of course, obviously, we didn't grow up in the States, right?
Right.
And so we came here to America to college, right? And something that I noticed, like exactly what you said,
Yeah.
you have to. Basically, the behavior that's rewarded here is if you're being opinionated about things.
Right. You
Sure.
have to vouch for yourself.
Yeah,
You can't
you have to-
expect others to vouch
Yeah.
for you.
Exactly. You have to sell yourself.
That's definitely
And
the
that's
culture.
something that
Yeah.
I'm still struggling with to this day. And then you just have to be able to speak well. That's a skill that's valued here. And as a
Yeah.
manager, you have to be able to speak
Right.
well.
Right.
I think for those that want to do that, they can. And I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
think there are many barriers, especially today. Because if
Yes,
you are good
especially
enough,
today.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you're good enough to get into that company, our friend Kwan, our fourth, I think she was a manager at Google, or she at least had she was at least
On
in-
track?
on track, or could become one or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like she never said, "Oh, I couldn't go past a certain point."
Mm-hmm.
Now, this article says, okay, sure, there are Asian managers, but they're saying in the higher level.
Right.
What about
Right. Like cream
if you
of the
guys
crops.
want to become one day a
Yeah.
director of your
Yeah.
said company?
Yeah.
You-
What do you
are we
think?
Are we talking about C-suite?
I would say, yeah, director up
the
to VP,
C-suite, yeah,
up
that,
to
that is counted
C-suite.
too. I mean, see, I feel like for that is such a. It's hard to find a statistical significance in those numbers. Those
Yeah.
roles are so there's far less of those roles, right?
Yeah.
Right, 'cause
It's
they're like
really
the
hard to say-
1%.
Exactly. And it's like if you. I don't know. I just feel like these representation numbers aren't really meaningful. Let's say, for
I
example,
agree.
like like there's 5% of Asians in the U.S., right? Does that mean like every org should have like 5% of Asian
No,
managers?
of course not.
Like,
Now,
that's
the media
really hard to
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
the thing.
it
This
doesn't
is
make
why
sense to me.
these type of
Like,
arguments
especially if
will
you're-
never end.
If you're a
Exactly.
larger company,
Yeah.
maybe you can think about that. If you're a startup, that doesn't
Yeah.
make sense at all.
Yeah.
You don't
Right.
even have the capacity to think about that.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's just like these artificial things that you put on. Like I'm sure, yes, you want some representation so that you can understand like people better, right?
Yep.
But it's like beyond that, it's kind of like a weird thing to enforce, you know?
Right.
I mean,
Because you got to be qualified for the job.
exactly that too.
You know?
Yeah. So like, for myself, this past half a year, I kind of stepped up to like an interim role for managing my team. And I gotta say, I did not enjoy it. Like, I'm not kidding. It's like herding cats, right?
Yeah.
It really
And,
is.
Yeah, you have to play nice with folks. You have to also do your own work. You also plan ahead.
Yes.
Yep.
And the thing is, it's not just like within your team, right? You have to also play nice with other teams
Exactly.
Yes.
in the company.
And listen to your manager.
yes.
Exactly.
And manage your team.
Yes.
So I think this like discussion of bamboo or just like ceilings in general comes with like the expectation or the general assumption is that to progress in the corporate ladder, you have to go into management and like just keep managing higher and higher and higher, right? And so if you're not able to just like get those salary bumps, for example, right?
I mean, just use you as an example, Mia. Like,
Yeah.
you just didn't want to do it. And that's totally fine.
And I was being transparent about
Yeah.
it actually at the time to my own manager because I was doing all kinds of things. Like
Yep.
I was doing my own job, I was managing my team, I had all these like side projects. So I'm like, not gonna lie, the least favorite is me managing my team.
And I don't think there's anything
And I
wrong
didn't
with
have
that.
a big team. I
Yeah.
have a small team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
that
I
was
think
hard.
what makes people want to go up is, of course, the bump in pay.
Yeah.
That's the
Yes.
attraction, right?
Yes.
And
But
the
if you're-
prestige, right, that
And
comes
the-
with
yeah,
that
and the
title.
prestige.
Yes,
yeah.
especially for Asians.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So like in my first company, I used to work at a place called NetApp back in the Bay, and there were a lot of like Indians there.
Yeah.
Like not just in the software engineering side, but also like
In the managerial side.
mostly on the management side. So it's- in terms of like even like senior management level too, and
Right.
like now if you there's like in the Bay Area, there's a lot of tech companies with Indian CEOs.
Yep.
Right, or like even on like
Absolutely.
you know the
Google.
yeah,
Yeah.
Google, Microsoft, right, and even on like the higher exec levels, right, and so personally, from personal experience at least, I did not enjoy being managed by like Indian managers, especially if they came from India. Just like it's like a complete cultural difference, right?
Okay.
And I feel the same way for like Chinese, like from China,
Right.
like immigrants who become managers.
Right.
It's like a totally different style,
Right.
and the expectations too. And the thing is, like,
I'm sure they expect a lot out of you.
it's not just they expect; it's like you have to fall in line, or they will f you up.
yeah.
Oh, dang.
They will
Yeah.
like they will try to sabotage you.
Wow.
Like that's actually happened to me.
Okay,
Oh my
I never
gosh.
had that
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah,
Fortunately,
it was
but
not
like,
a good like.
Like,
for me-
why were you trying to like argue your case,
No,
like
I was
make
just-
your case?
I was just
for
a
some-
junior engineer. I was my first job.
Yeah.
So what was your problem?
I don't know.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
And it was just weird. So like ever since then, I've always prepared like I don't care what ethnicity you are,
Yeah.
but I do care that you like were spent time in the US
Yep.
and have that culture in you.
Yeah.
And so like from all the like American or like westernish managers I've far enjoyed more.
Yep.
You know, some cultural differences is worth talking about it just because I have a friend who recently moved here from Asia, right? And basically he said, yeah, the culture here, people are just more, you know, free. Whereas like he came from Korea and he's like in Korea, it's just like people are up in your case. Like they really want to know everything about you and
Yeah.
like what you did, blah, blah, blah. And it's also a lot more competitive. Whereas people here are a lot more chill.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, so I think that's like
But the chill thing, I think it comes down to productivity in the United States.
True. There's
yeah.
more of a work-life balance expectation.
oh
here.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
But-
like the idea of like you work hard, no, you work smart and not work hard.
right.
So
But I think because it's a philosophical
Yeah.
issue, right?
Yes.
Because as a manager, you have to hit goals and targets and numbers, same as you do in Asia. That's not different. Like in America, we're probably even more focused on the goal, that number. And we've just found that it's better to not micromanage. That's the style in America. So the confusion,
That is the style
I think,
in
is
America.
when people come here and they're like, "You guys are relaxed." I'm like, "We work harder than 99." Like Americans work
workaholics.
hard.
Dude,
We're workaholics.
no. Asians in Asia,
Sure,
they work really
They
hard.
do too. I'm not saying they don't.
Yeah.
No.
I'm not saying
they
Asians
might
don't.
spend more time at work.
They
Yes.
spend more time at work.
Like, there's that
they
thing about-
spend time with their coworkers after work.
Sure.
Like that's the culture.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's the culture. I'm not saying they don't work hard and long hours.
Yeah.
But the common misconception is Americans don't work hard, and we work harder than most people, I would say.
Yeah.
But the expectation is, I'm going to let you do your thing, but you need to deliver.
Yes,
Yes.
as long
And
as you deliver.
Exactly.
Yes.
And everyone knows that, and that's why our industries do well.
Yeah, it's not so much
You
like
know?
the Asian thing where like you have to.
You have to be chained to your desk.
Yeah.
Yes, until your manager leaves.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't be the first one to leave. And you know what?
Right.
I actually got dinged for not being at my desk. Like it's not
Really?
Yes.
Actually,
Recently,
yes.
or-
So
No, like my first job.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, early in my
Not
career,
anymore.
I did
No.
work for a Taiwanese company, and there's a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
You know, just like you're if I don't see the back of your head, then you're not
Right.
working.
But that's okay. This is a whole nother topic, but
Yeah.
it's basically like I honestly I think it comes from like communism, because it's basically like if I'm here, you got to be here, because they don't care as much. You want to hit the goals, but you're forcing people to do it, and you're forcing a certain type of worker to adhere to your standards. Like you got to be there 9 to 5. If I don't see you, therefore you're not working hard. But in America, it's like I don't care what when you come in, you just better get that TPS report done by the end of the week.
Wait, what is TPS report?
It's a joke from Office Space.
Oh, is that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just
yeah,
like,
yeah. You
but you know
gotta
what I mean?
watch
Like
it.
you
If you
better
work in
give me the
corporate-
you
yeah.
better Mia.
Is this
You
the one
better
with
do-
Red Stapler?
Yes,
Yes.
that's the rest of it.
Yes.
Like,
Oh, I didn't
like,
remember that.
I don't care what you do. You could be on the beach, Mia,
Yeah.
for 4 days, but on Friday when we have to, or on Monday.
Well, it's more so now after COVID, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you just knock that presentation out of the water and we get that client, I don't care what you do.
Yeah. I
know?
think it also comes from like, especially for Asian cultures. I think it's more of like for like more white collar work now. Like productivity is not a measure of, it's not a function of like how much time you sit at your desk.
Exactly.
Right, and that's more of like a factory mentality, like
Yeah.
manufacturing mentality.
This should actually be a whole nother podcast about the differences in work at
And
culture.
it's not to like
Yeah.
it's not to like crap on like other cultures or anything like that.
It's okay.
No, we're just saying they're
I'll
different.
crap on it. I don't like the way
I mean,
that you know.
I have my preferences too,
yeah.
right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
But I think
I'll go as far as say it's actually detrimental the way that mainland people manage their companies. I've had mainland Chinese managers or Taiwanese. It's not detrimental, but sometimes it is. But a lot of times it's very limiting to the person and not rewarding.
Yeah, that's for sure. But yeah, I think
I'll say
like,
it. I don't care.
I think like the heads at the desk thing is more of like a manufacturing mentality,
Yeah.
like factory time. Or it's like
Yes, because you're actually building something, and
Yeah.
you have to be present to build a car.
yeah.
At
And so
Ford.
like that
It's like,
that pattern, that
Yeah.
mentality hasn't changed, even though you're doing different type of
It
work.
seeps
Correct.
into other areas.
Yeah.
but that's also
exactly.
why like America. Look, the America is known for tech, right? Silicon Valley. So it's not a factory. You actually have to go off and like they want you to be creative. They want you to think big. Blah blah. blah anyways. So
That's how students have been taught in school.
Yeah, if you
right?
want to. Yeah. I
Oh
think.
yeah, when I was in Indonesia, I was really good at like memorizing things
Yeah.
and like regurgitating things,
Yeah.
and that's how you get good grades. But then, when I went to that British school in Malaysia, I was like, "You're supposed to like speak up," and I just could not speak
Yeah.
up for the life of me.
But that's what's interesting, because I'm not here to say that one cult, like I'm not saying one being free and exploring
Like
is
one
good.
method is better than the others.
Like, or what I'm saying is, if you are the type of person to just do your job well, like you, and you don't care much to like become a manager and get to that C level, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Not,
Yeah.
That's,
you know what I
that's
mean?
the thing too, where it's like like there's nothing wrong with it if you want it.
Yeah.
You're blocked from it. That's an
That's
issue.
wrong.
Yes.
And that's, I think, that.
yes. And if
what-
you're
And I'm sure
depends on what you're
that
blocked
case
for.
does exist.
Yes, for sure.
somewhere.
For sure.
Yeah.
But that's hard to prove, and I'm not
Yes.
going to just trust some article where somebody has another agenda. Because in America,
the
you have
thing
an
about
agenda.
generalizing
Yeah.
and like talking about these things, they have the top line metrics. Oh, 40% of this workforce is Asian American, but then
Right.
only 5% is like is at the executive level.
Right.
Like top line metric, yes, that looks bad, but
Right.
then when you start peeling and like really looking into things,
Yeah.
it's really hard to say.
Yeah,
It's hard to say.
It's
Yeah.
kind of like Hollywood representation, right?
Right.
Like we talked about how, like before, like how many movies had like, like white folks or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to look at the pipeline, like how many people failed to get in, and like what you see is
Or
like
how
a
many
very,
people
like,
want to
1%.
go to Hollywood?
Exactly, and like especially
Exactly.
for Asians, just like the first generation,
Right.
like not so many
Not
are
many.
going in.
But you see
That's
it. I mean,
changing now.
Yeah.
but early on, not so
Yeah.
many.
I think it's on a good track. I mean, you've had like again, we talked about a major movie studio hiring a Chinese actor. You see people who are not just American. Well, he's Shang-Chi he's Canadian.
Chinese
But
Canadian.
then
yeah.
like Henry Golding is another really famous guy.
He's British.
He's British. And now you got a lot.
Where are the Americans?
There's a Chinese guy on SNL. I never thought, or I think he's Chinese. He might
Who
be
are you
Korean.
talking about?
Bowen
Ronnie.
Yang. I've never
Oh.
watched
Oh.
SNL for the
Oh,
last.
yeah.
I used to watch.
Oh.
I just heard his name and I looked at his picture and I'm like, maybe you're Korean, maybe you're Chinese, but you're East Asian and you're on SNL. I'm like, what? I never thought that would happen.
Yeah, and there's Ronnie Chang on
Isn't he
Daily
Malaysian?
Show. Yes,
Yeah.
he's Malaysian.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like great. They're
Yeah.
getting to the, and I never cared. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I like your comedy, it doesn't matter who
Right.
I like female comedians. I like male comedians. That just never mattered to me.
Yeah.
I've never even seen Shang-Chi because I just don't care for the character. So, and I'm not,
You've
but-
never seen it?
no, because I grew up reading comic books. Like I was a
Oh.
comic book nerd. I've never read Shang-Chi the comic, so
Okay.
I'm not into it.
That's right. I
Okay.
remember
Yeah,
you
I'm not
mentioned
like.
this. Yeah.
So that's just me because I'm a comic book freak.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
Yeah,
know?
yeah. Can I
Yeah.
just say that movie was all right?
No, that movie was good.
You liked it?
Yeah.
I
Oh,
was okay on it.
I didn't have any expectation
Like,
going in.
there were two really good fight scenes, like very reminiscent of like the Hong Kong style. And after that, it was like very meh.
The bus scene?
The bus scene
Yeah.
and the building scene in
It's
Hong Kong.
it's funny too because I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
if I want to see a lot of Asian actors, I'm just gonna watch a Hong Kong flick.
Well, I grew up watching
or-
Hong Kong
Yeah,
movies.
so
and
I'm
so,
like,
but I mean, I get
these are
like,
great.
for like somebody like little Dan, you
Yeah.
know, you want to see people like you on TV. Like, I get
No,
that.
Dan didn't.
I know, like
other
other
little
Dan,
ki- yeah,
other
other
Dan
kids, yeah.
Chens
I
out
was like,
there.
I mean, I wanted to see a Ninja Turtle. I was like, yeah.
Okay, yeah, going back to my previous experiences. Okay, I've always known that my biggest weakness is I just can't really sell myself. You
True.
know?
Same.
I've
Yeah.
always gotten that feedback of like, you need to. This is
Advocate?
direct quote from my previous manager a long time ago. You need to brag about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if when you think that you're bragging, you're actually not.
Right.
So like it was like that hard for me
Yeah.
to do that. So because I knew that, I was like, okay, now I need to just advocate for myself, right?
But then if you get promoted and you don't want the new job, what happens? And you're like, okay.
No, you just have to do it
Okay.
for a certain amount of time. Like don't just run away from it immediately.
Yeah. I mean, would you ever want to be like get to like a maybe I don't know CFO? Well, you can't be a CFO. You don't have a COO. Let's say.
No, I'm not sure.
Right?
Yeah, I'm
Do you
not
ever
sure.
want to get to that level of a company?
That's a huge responsibility.
And I'm not even sure.
The thing is, okay, here's the thing, right? There could be somebody with a COO, whatever, C-suite level title, but they don't manage a team. Like that's
correct. They don't.
possible.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
manage. But also, I do think some of these levels, like, are you even qualified on paper? Because you probably need an MBA, 15 years of experience.
Yeah,
You've
yeah.
had like, I kind of liken it to be in the Army, right? You're not going to be a 4-star general when you're 25 or 35 or 45. There's a reason why when somebody's a C-level exec, not
if you're a startup, then you can
yeah,
just
not,
give yourself
not a startup,
whatever title.
not somebody that created an app that's like I'm the CEO, not Zuckerberg, but like a regular traditional company.
Okay.
Every C-level person, whether you're Chinese or not, you're like of a certain age. You've been around. You command the trust. You have the cachet. You're like a full bird general, right? But when you're 20,
Like at that point, you will
can't.
have seen everything.
Exactly. And like honestly, I would want to be managed by somebody who I feel has been through enough in life. Because then if we're going to, it's like if you go in a battle or you're trying to achieve a goal, I'm going to be like, you know what? I'm just going to trust that you know what you're doing because you've been there before. You know, so how many of those, I don't know, 50-year-old Chinese managers out there? I don't know. Because maybe by that time they're like, I'm going to retire because I made some good money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell my stock. Maybe
Yeah.
this is not what I want to do for my life. Maybe I want to do something else.
Or maybe they have other priorities. Like I
Yeah.
know that, 2 years ago, I might have been like, yes, I'm going to do this. This is like good for me. I'm going to be able to learn a lot. But at the same time, now I'm at a point where like, do I really want that much stress in my life?
I gotta
Maybe
tell
not.
you, like, if you get to a C-level exec, you are basically that path that you chose. You're like seriously, like it's a path. So you're gonna be from 55 to 75, bouncing around C-level. Like the executive, the CEO of Disney can go over to whatever. So you better be prepared for that.
Golden parachute.
Yeah, but it's like, but you wanted that
Yeah.
since
Right.
you were
Yeah.
40, 50.
Yeah.
Right.
I can tell you right now, most people don't even want that.
Yeah.
I don't care what ethnicity you are.
Yeah,
That
some
is-
people like to have a life.
yeah, that's like a
Their own lives,
very
yeah.
specific role, and sometimes I read these articles, I'm like, I don't know, man. I see a lot of Chinese and Indian friends who make some great money right now, more than I do, and they are not limited at all.
Right.
You know,
right,
I'm like,
right.
pretty good in all industries in New York. Heck, it's kind of like if you're an athlete, that's the thing. Like, all right, we don't see a lot of Chinese athletes because none of them are like, yeah, I want to grow up to be Michael Jordan. Because first of all, they're, you know what I mean? Like maybe they are when they're kids,
But why not?
but because at some point they're like, you know what? I just wasn't born with this gift
Yeah.
as my peers, and I just
Yeah.
won't be a professional.
It's similar to the Hollywood thing, right? It's like the pipeline. Like if you like for American sports, there's like the AAU. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what it stands for.
AAU is the amateur. It's the circuit where when you're in basically when you're a child,
Yeah.
you're playing like this extremely competitive amateur basketball where you're gonna be in like LeBron, Kobe. They all were in AAU. It's like an amateur league for kids.
I don't think Kobe was.
Kobe, no, but
Yeah, it was
LeBron
like
was.
LeBron,
Yeah,
LeBron
is
and
8
onwards.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why now all the basketball players, the
Yeah.
pros, kind of know each other. But it's like that's a pipeline.
Yep.
Right. And so think about how many Chinese kids are even in there, right? So it's
Yeah.
like there's not many.
There's
And,
not
like,
that
think
many
about how
Jeremy
many-
Lins out there.
I got
How many kids who go in the pipeline
Yeah.
don't make it into the NBA?
I got
Right.
it. I have a hot take. It's not really a hot take. The biggest detriment to Chinese kids' dreams are their parents for not letting me play baseball. Beyond a certain age, I will tell this story. I was so good at baseball when I was 6, 7.
You're
8.
talking about yourself
Talking
specifically.
about myself.
Okay.
And I literally was like, Mom, here's a sport where I don't have to be tall. I have to have great hand-eye coordination, which I do, and it helps that I'm fast, which I am. Please let me play beyond like Little League. She was like, no, you're going to go play piano, chess, music, art. You're going to do all this and get good grades and go to Harvard. I didn't go to Harvard. I did everything else. And I'm like, man, I think I actually, I think I could have been a baseball player.
Like-
Because I was going to put in the
and
work.
like the real league, like MLB.
Because to me, there was no limit. Because baseball, I didn't need to be tall and I didn't need to shoot a basketball. I just had to hit this ball. And I felt like I was already
And run.
really good. And run, which is whatever. So I actually was like, now maybe growing up, there might be a bamboo ceiling there. I don't know. But I really was like, I think, if I put my mind to this, I could be really good.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, just like look at baseball now, like Shohei Ohtani.
He's the guys. He's the best, the best.
I'm looking at Dan like
The best.
looking puzzled because I'm like,
Like-
okay.
We're talking about once in a century player
Centre.
is a Japanese guy. All right, century.
We're talking about
Better than
Japanese guy.
Yeah, and the thing is, in Taiwan, Korea, and Japan, they all play baseball.
Yeah, it's huge
it's
there.
Huge.
Yeah.
And they have a pipeline.
Yes. And what's interesting? Oh, I mean, what's great is that like the fans love him here too.
Fans love him here too.
Yeah.
Literally, he barely speaks English. All right, I don't know if he does or not. I'm sure he's learning, but it's like he's not like he's not a Derek Jeter personality wise, right? But people love him, and he's the MVP. I think he was the MVP last year. I'm not sure.
I think so. Yeah. I think so.
I mean, he's a phenom. Like non-Chinese writers are like, people come to the park to see this guy.
Wow.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe if my mom let me play baseball when I
Dan
was
Chen.
little, there might be other little Dan Chens playing in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just like, it's a pipeline thing.
Wow, we went off topic a lot.
As always.
As always.
But yeah, I mean, again, I think it's a pipeline thing.
Yeah.
Just like look at how many people go in the pipeline, how many people actually make it. Everyone else failed.
Yeah.
I want to say that it's just like everything. Well, every conversation about this, I think, is kind of inconclusive. Like
It
you
is.
can never get anywhere.
No. But that's why we talk
productive.
about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, which is fine to talk about
Yeah.
it, but I think it's also important to just figure out, there's a personal responsibility element to all these things.
I actually think it's less helpful reading articles like this. I think it's interesting and we have things to talk about.
True.
Yeah.
But I feel like people putting it out there.
And that's the thing about
automatically-
America. Americans
Yeah.
love to talk and
Yeah.
like voice their opinions, and
Oh,
they would
oh,
have
yeah.
thoughts
Yeah. You
'Cause
know,
then-
on
Yeah.
everything.
like now I kind of think Twitter is a mistake. Like social.
No, 100%.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I love Twitter. I started browsing it during COVID, and then it's been amazing. It's been a huge time sink for me, but I think it's a mistake.
Of
it
course.
was like they're like, everyone should have an opinion is allowed to have an opinion and speak it.
No.
But
you should
but,
have
like,
you should yeah.
you shouldn't be able to broadcast it.
Yes, because people are stupid. Like as a collective, we're
just
pretty
keep those
stupid.
internal thoughts
Yes.
internal.
Yes. I mean,
like-
it's like the MIB quote, right?
Because if you're giving the same weight to say a tweet from the president or somebody and Joe Schmo, and it's like, guys, what in the newspaper, you're not you have to quote people with authority on the matter.
No, but like
But
even,
Twitter, you
even
don't.
politicians, even journalists,
Yeah.
there's like a lot of dumb takes out there because
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like it's like a brain, it's like a fire hose from the brain. That is not a good idea.
No.
Yeah, I'm just like, yeah.
But it's
Twitter-
entertainment. Like Twitter's not like honestly, Twitter's entertainment. People are like, and that's like all this. A lot of these articles, they're entertainment. They're designed to get you to click on it, so you can then click on the paid ads with the clickbait below, so that website makes money. And Miam, you sell
I mean,
some of these banners.
I work
so
in
you know
advertiser,
exactly.
and advertising, and I've seen how a major events could contribute to a media company's bottom line.
Exactly.
So
Oh,
leave
yeah.
it
And
at
then
that.
and then as
Yeah.
soon as one topic trends, 1,000 other media outlets automatically regurgitate that article. So now it's
Yeah.
in the
Of course.
sphere. Now like people who aren't even Chinese are like, Dan, do you feel like you've been limited? I go, my whole life I didn't feel like I've been limited. So now you're gonna put that in the universe? Like clearly as long as you guys known me, like
Yeah.
I think I could do anything.
Yeah.
If I just wanted to and put my mind to it. And
Yeah,
that's
of
how I would
course.
teach my kid, because that's how my mom taught me. Like, listen, if you just put time into this, if this is what you want to do, you want to put time into it. If you want to be a C-level exec, then go for it.
Right. Prepare to make the trade.
I want to be a C-level exec when I grow up.
Yeah. And then depending on where you fall, because I would make the argument like the C-level exec, before they reach that level, they're getting compensated a lot of money already.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they're already set for life. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, why would they? It's not even for the money. It's like they got something where
It's a
they
prestige,
need to. Yeah.
it's a power. Yeah.
Or some of them, yeah. Or some of them are just like, I want to lead. Like,
Yes.
I want to lead
True.
people.
Yeah.
I want to create a product based on whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, if you want to do it and you feel like there's first of all, the people that feel like there's a ceiling probably won't do it. But the people that just want to go for it, if you're Chinese, East Asian,
You should
Go
just
for
go
it.
for it no
Yeah.
matter what.
And they do.
Whether
Yeah.
or not you think there's a ceiling.
Yeah, I think there's an element to like, I wouldn't call it self-delusion, but you need that self-confidence. You need to
Yeah.
believe in yourself, right? To just keep pushing through
listen,
it.
you could be
'Cause
an entrepreneur any day.
there's
Are
gonna
we
be
talking about irrational confidence that
I mean, a bit of that, right?
basketball
gotta.
players love to
Because
talk about?
there's going to be a lot of adversity coming your way,
Yeah.
right? If you want to be successful, like some people are lucky, but if you don't feel like you're lucky, you got to push through things.
Hey,
right?
the easiest way to be a C-level exec, find your own company, slap the title on yourself. I'm the CEO. I founded.
When I went to college, is like some of my friends started companies. Like, yeah, I want to be a CTO.
Yeah,
I
I'm
want to
the
be a
founder.
CEO. Yeah, founder. Yeah.
Moss can found a company, be like, I'm founder and CTO and CEO
And CEO.
and director and president
And chairman.
MVP.
No, I think now, me personally,
And investor.
I
Yeah.
would like relinquish like the more organizational things. Like
Yeah.
personally, I like strategy and I like building.
Do you?
And also like what you guys are saying, a lot of times now, if you don't want to do corporate world, what if we wanted to just do our podcast and make money?
Exactly.
We could do it.
Exactly.
We don't do it right now because
We're
we
CEOs
have a job.
of our
Yeah.
own.
Like people literally
Background
like
entertainment.
create something out of thin air,
Yeah.
put it out there. A year or two later, if they keep doing it consistently, they make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the other thing about like these kinds of like ceiling talks.
Yeah.
It's like you're talking about within a finite space
Yeah.
of how to reach success. I'm sure there are barriers for everyone or like different kinds of people, different types of ceilings. But like the space for success is so much larger than this like little bubble, right?
Yeah.
Like there's so many ways to be successful, and however
Yeah.
you want to define it,
Yeah.
you can almost reach it.
Agreed. So
What is
Mia,
it, Mia?
What you got? What you got, Mia? Are you completely questioning your entire professional life choices at this moment?
No,
Okay.
because whatever Thomas just said, you could almost reach it. It just reminds me of a song. How close you can already. Anyway,
I mean, I don't want to give guarantees, right? It's just like, but you have the chance. No one is stopping you. I think that is a great thing about America now.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to try it, you can do it.
Yeah.
As long as you're prepared to suffer the consequences, if there are any, and you can also reap the rewards.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Mia and I can never be the president because we were not born in the United States. I would love to be the president of the United States, but I can't. 'Cause I wasn't born here.
I would
you
not
you
want.
could.
I could, but I would
Assume,
not
but
want that
you
job.
gotta be 35. I know all the requirements. You gotta be 35. You gotta be born in the United States, and that's
Yeah.
basically it. That's it.
Yeah, I'm like.
And have a
years
crap
behind.
load of money to do your campaign.
you can do it.
Yeah.
The next. I
I
can be
mean,
the
my
next.
child.
I can be the next
True.
Andrew Yang.
I mean, if
Yeah.
politicians had any power to make change, I would love to be a politician. But we all know that that's a farce. Anyways,
That's a whole nother topic.
a whole nother topic.
I feel like we've said enough.
I mean, come on.
So,
All right,
guys,
guys.
what do you think?
Yes, let us know what you think.
Do you-
Specifically, if you had a limit, if you felt like you keep hitting a ceiling, let us know.
And it's purely
Yeah.
because of your race, right? Because
Exactly.
that's what we're talking
Exactly.
about.
Not because
here,
you're actually
so.
terrible at what
Yeah.
you do,
Yeah.
or not as good as somebody
Correct.
else.
I mean, we can only speak from our own experiences.
Yeah.
So if you guys have different experience, we want to hear all about
Yes.
it.
Please let us know, and also let us know if you want to hear more of like this kind of topic,
Yeah.
where it's more
Hot takes?
Yes, hot takes, controversial, cancelable.
Jeez.
Because like
Jeez.
I've talked about like I like
You want to
us
get
being
us
just-
canceled
I
already?
like us just being
can't be
background noise,
canceled.
right? Like stuff that it's like entertaining, but you don't have to like 100% focus. And
Right.
like
True.
this is kind of different, right?
This is different. You can argue with us from the comfort
yeah,
of your
yeah.
own home.
Yes, exactly. So, anyways, let us know, and please give us a good rating.
And thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.